big group, big group, big girl group.
Hi guys, my name is Layla. I'm a rising 12th grader. This story, well, that is what it is. It is a story, it is an experience. It is something that we've all worked on individually, but we've come together to make it something so beautiful and pretty, so I'd like to appreciate that. Our name is K Flame. Wow, like our project, we incorporated everything, so our initials, yes, K Flame. Our project name is Train Ride Through Time, because while a lot of people have walking towards their experience, we want you to be able to focus on the experience. So I can sit here, or I can stay here and talk about, every single nitpick and go about it, but this is mapped out into 4 sections. The early life, we have culinary acclaim, we have commitment to family, a minute is word, and connected to legacy. So individually, we're all going to explain the experience you will feel, and I just want to say also that while being in here, you are going to experience everything. Like, there's no spot that's, that's clear or that where you're looking, you're going to see something that is going to incorporate into everything. We wanted to build this story the best way we could and appreciate y'all. So, we're going to start.
This is John's early life and young adulthood. He was born in 1824 in Hanover County, Virginia. And when he was a young boy, he trained to be a jockey. So he was participating in race courses with horses. And when he got older, he became a server for a bustling hub near the race course. So you might not be able to see it that well when you come up. You can see that he is transitioning from him being a jockey to a server, and he was very successful with his job.
So my section was culinary acclaim. Her transition into him being a waiter, into transitioning into him working at a hotel in Richmond. So he elevated a lot of dishes that were already known from working there. He's, grabbed a lot of different experiences from that. So I wanted to do a way to stop and also drink or collect yourselves. And so what I did was I created a railroad station where you can stop and get a drink or you can get a snack and just appreciate the time that you spent.
So my name is Cody, and the part of the story that I had was his family commitment. And what I decided to do, a little backstory on that is in his story, he had a wife named Elizabeth, and she was enslaved. And between her and John, they had 9 children together. So by the time they had their second son, her enslaver was noticing that she was spending too much time with her kids and not spending too much time with her duties. And she was his maid, so of course she would have to, I guess, do more, but she had a lot of other responsibilities such as her kids. So as soon as John noticed that, he decided to make payments to her enslaver to free her. And so what I decided to do was I drew him and his whole family, and I had put them around a table with money on it, and I kind of surrounded it with flowers and nice nature elements to capture that even though she had a hard time, and he also had a hard time with having to raise kids and go on with their lives, they still had found beauty in that with the fact that he freed her and her children, their children. So that was what I did, and yeah.
I focused on the entrepreneurship, so I built a bank to represent that. I built this bank to represent how John was able to open his establishments because back in 1862, John opened a restaurant and he also opened another in 1865. Due to John's honest and trustworthy reputation and his commitment to financial obligations, earned him credits from Richmond Bank, which allowed him to open his business.
My name is Anelka, and one thing that I built in this project was John. In his monument, he's holding like two scales, and the higher one has like a red line to represent his honesty and his personality. And the lower one has like money because when he had to choose between continuing to pay his enslavers so that he could be free and spending on his wife to be free, he spent it on his wife and his enslaver because of his personality, and he was seen as an honest man. They thought that he would continue paying his payments when he could, but when he was finally able to, the Civil War had ended. So by then he was a free man, and even though he didn't have to continue paying his enslaver, he did. So I feel like it was important that he chose his personality, like him being an honest man, over the money, because he could have kept the money for himself and not paid his enslaver back, but he didn't. And I feel like that was important because I feel like back then African Americans were seen as like dirty people and untrustworthy and liars, and I feel like him staying to his word and paying his enslaver back was a big thing for the Black community. It made them be seen as something different.
Okay, so to give like a context on our project as a whole, we have added a lot of nature elements to it. We wanted to make it colorful and kind of warming. So we have grass texture and things like that to resemble grass. We made like little trees, and one thing that we did earlier today was me and my teammate Layla went outside to get like real flowers and put around our environment to make it look, have more detail. And I remember making an iteration of like a tree, but like I didn't want to use it, and I just thought it looked really weird. But we ended up making like a new prototype, which if we'll see later, we have made like a new prototype of trees. And you won't be able to see this, but I made like a little flower. Of course, it's very small. But one of the mentors that came with us this week, she's not here today, but she showed me how to make a bigger flower with a pipe cleaner, and which you will see around my memorial. And like what Layla mentioned earlier, we have the train in the train station, which she made on her own time last night. And she made it out of cardboard, and they were really good. And this morning we also had help from the mentors to paint them and make them pop. And a lot of our project really consisted of a lot of materials that we found and a lot of ideas that we had that we thought would work, and they ended up working really well. And so when you come up here, you'll be able to see all that and all of our hard work put together. We also have papers up front that show our different ideas and our iterations. I know for mine, my teammates know I spent so long trying to figure out what to do, like how to represent his family. And if you come up here, you'll see like all the different drawings I had to do and kind of just put my thoughts together. And when I finally did, it came out really well, and I would say the same for all of my teammates as well.
Okay, so working on a project of this scale and having so many sections and so many little details that you wouldn't catch, we had to organize, we had to time. So we were one of the last groups to finish. So time is very much valuable. So as you can see in the front, there's a list of things that we wanted to do. That is definitely hard to keep up, especially for a week. But I'm very proud of this experience. I'm very proud of my group because we put so much effort in and so much time that, you know, I think that's something that we could be proud of. So, yeah, any questions?
Mo. Mo.
I love how much information and how many different elements and details you guys added to this. I think it's really cool because like 100 people could go to this park and every person will have a slightly different experience. You know, maybe everyone notices a different detail or someone went to a different spot, and that creates a lot of really cool conversations of like, oh, did you notice this detail? No, but did you notice this? And I think being able to create those conversations is really awesome for a memorial and kind of the point. So I think that's beautiful.
A similar question that I did for them is your scale, and are you experiencing this while you're riding the train, or are you walking through it, or how do you experience Spirit Monument or Memorial?
So while riding the train, they stop at each station. So each station you have, you know, probably about 30 minutes to just really take in the scenery of every individual station. Even with scale of it, we didn't really think of scale, but eventually we had to take that into consideration with placing it on this board because it may seem big, but it's not very big, especially for what we wanted to do.
I just want to know the way that you guys talk about the experience too, and the way you've added texture and the many colors and vibrant spaces that you made. You're really thinking about the experience of the space, and I think that it's really valuable as designers because the spaces we make are impactful, and you wanted it to be warm, you wanted it to evoke some sort of emotion, really having it tied to the experience, and I think that's a really successful result that you have. I also saw the sketches that you had on Tuesday too, and seeing the sex beautiful, great work, girls.
Thank you.
I'll add on, I always saw you guys have the train and to see so many things is really, really cool. You guys should be proud. And putting the real flowers in there, I think is really nice. It adds a nice texture. I think you guys created like a mini world of somebody's life. The experience, it really is an experience, like riding the train and going through these things and everything. So I really do, it's very admirable.
Great job, you guys. There's a lot of work that's really gone into it, so great job. I do want to know, did each of your work kind of in isolation and take a point to say, okay, I'm building this, I'll do this, and work off each other? Or did you all have a contribution to how each of those things are going to look like along with the train?
What I think for us is we definitely had our own ideas initially, but of course, like what we talked about this week about collaboration, of course we shared those ideas with not only our team, but like other people in the camp, which I think really helped me personally, and I know helped my teammates as well. From when we were doing that, I know our board just had grass and a train track or whatever, so from there, we had already had a lot of ideas, and taking those ideas from each other and the people in the camp, we were able to create this experience of our avatar's life. And I think we did work kind of individually, but we also worked together just by simply sharing supplies or just like letting each other see, oh, do you like this? Do you think I should change this? So I think we had a good combination of working together and also having our own ideas at the same time.
And I want to add on to it. There was no way I could come up with some of these ideas. I just couldn't. So while we worked individually, we also talked about materials. Like, this may be good, but this may be a little better. So I think that, you know, we're talking about critiques, that it's not judgment, but it's a suggestion to maybe, you may want to change this, but it's okay, you don't have to, and not being pushy or not being judgmental, but just, you know, giving more ideas and contributing that to each project.
I was gonna say really quickly, and I like how you all answered that question, that my first impression of your group was how grounded you all were in your individual ideas and the things you wanted to do. So from seeing that on Tuesday to where you are now, I really do, I mean, you just said it, I'm echoing it, but I do think y'all found a good balance in staying true to this is my vision, this is what's important to me, this is what I want to work on, and still making sure it contributed to a larger group effort, which I think is a great lesson to carry on. You know, as architects, we're trained to have our own idea, and then you get into a firm and you have to answer to people who are higher up, you have to collaborate with yourself, and then you have an owner to answer to. So what a valuable lesson on how to maintain your own vision and your own individuality and still come up with a product that speaks to the like the group goal. So
just to agree and add on to that, it's really cool to see how you guys collaborated and how you each used your individual strengths, whether that's 3D modeling with the cardboard or drawing, and how they're all still cohesive and convey the avatar, even though you're using different mediums. It's really nice.
I'll just wrap up echoing that the scale of that. These guys, in particular, I feel like yesterday afternoon, you guys just had train checks and the whole month was empty. And they took homework home. They had idled over at one point yesterday afternoon, and they had 3 mentors over there painting and cutting and building, and they had just like employed all this extra help. So we have some master delegators, I think, in this group. And I'm glad that you guys did bring up the collaboration and the challenges you had with that and how you overcame them. I think this group of campers in particular, and this is my 4th year doing this, I was immensely, and I've said this to all the mentors already, I was immensely impressed with the way that you guys just teamworked and collaborated and listened to each other and came together and formed ideas without a whole lot of pushing from us. You guys all, I think, in all the groups did that really well, and that's really, it's a big skill to learn, right? It's great, thank you.
Move.